Good evening, I'm Karen Swenson.
And I'm Katie Moore. Protesters spent much of the afternoon outside of the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, even trying to get onto the Westbank expressway.
Now, 5 protesters are now at the parish jail. This is video obtained by our partners at the Times-Picayune New Orleans Advocate. You can see protesters getting into a scuffle with deputies. The protesters also blocked the ground-level expressway in front of the JPSO headquarters in Harvey. Paul Murphy is live on the Westbank, where demonstrators gathered there earlier today. And what's the situation like now, Paul?
Well, as I understand it, the protesters have left this location in front of the JPSO headquarters, and some of them disbanded. Others are now gathered outside the Jefferson Parish Correctional Center waiting for some of the folks that were arrested during the protest to be released. Now, I should say that the protest started out peaceful, with families of several men who were killed in recent years during encounters with the JPSO gathered here, calling for an end to police brutality and demanding justice for their deceased loved ones. Then a group of those protesters left the front of the JPSO headquarters and headed towards the elevated expressway. The JPSO and other local police departments shut down parts of the highway as demonstrators marched towards the bridge. They were met on the ramp by more than 24 deputies with riot shields and batons. There was a brief confrontation when several protesters tried to break through the police line. Some protesters got into scuffles with deputies. 2 deputies were injured. 5 people were arrested, and one of the injured deputies was treated for facial lacerations and released from a hospital. Dr. Ashante Wyatt from the Village Keepers helped de-escalate a tense situation on the ramp.
There's a difference between being afraid and being reckless. We know you're not afraid because you came up on the bridge, but it's reckless. And we're out here because of the lives that were lost at the hands of Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, and I just did not want to see anyone else be harmed because of reckless behavior.
We're out here calling for justice, calling for answers for the families of Modesto Reyes, Chris Joseph, all these other young men who have been killed as a result of police brutality.
And according to the JPSO, those 5 people that were arrested face a range of charges, including resisting a police officer, battery on a police officer, and obstruction of a roadway. We're live out in front of the JPSO headquarters on the Westbank. Paul Murphy, Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Paul. And a lot of those protesters then made their way over to the Gretna jail, the parish jail. And that's where we find our Danny Monteverdi tonight with that part of the story. Danny?
That's right, Katie. They said they showed up here to the jail in Gretna to try to see what was happening with their friend. They say of the 5 protesters who were booked afterwards, they say only one of them is anyone they knew. They say the other 4 are folks they don't know. Let's take a live look right now. If you joined us at 5 o'clock, you saw there were maybe about 24 protesters out here. That number has dwindled a little bit. It's maybe about 15 or 18 people now. Just a few minutes ago, actually, we saw someone from the jail in a sheriff's office uniform come out and talk to the protesters. We asked them what they discussed. They say that deputy told them that the reality is the people who were arrested tonight probably are not getting out of jail tonight. They say it'll probably be the morning before they're able to have their bond set by a commissioner. And their goal originally, the protesters, the goal originally was to stay out here tonight until at least the one person they know had bail set and was released. But again, that is something that typically does take overnight to happen, so we shouldn't be surprised to see that happen in the morning. Coming up at 10 o'clock, we actually just got some new video from some of these protesters that shows one of the arrests happen. They claim it was an unlawful arrest, and we'll take a look at that and explore the issue a little bit more on Eyewitness News at 10. But for now, that is the latest. Reporting live at the Jefferson Parish Jail in Gretna, Danny Monteverdi, Eyewitness News.